Okay, so we're diving into the world of Portuguese hotels,
Yeah.
and I gotta say, this report you sent over, not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, travel brochures, glossy photos of infinity pools.
Right.
This is like serious
Yeah,
stuff.
it's not just a deep dive into, some sunny vacation ideas. It's a look at a real sector of the Portuguese economy.
It's serious business.
That's booming.
Yeah. And the thing I appreciate, and maybe this is just me, but Egidio Silva, our author, doesn't really sugarcoat anything.
No, he doesn't. He tells you, lays it out there.
Lays it all out, the good, the bad, and everything in between.
Exactly.
Speaking of Egidio Silva, can we just talk about this guy for a second?
Yeah.
Pilot and sea captain licenses.
It's impressive.
Writing his autobiography while developing a pet-related app.
He's a busy guy.
This guy's got layers.
He's a very, very interesting guy. And, you add that on top of being a 57-year-old real estate veteran specializing in commercial properties, it's like he's seen it all.
He's not just like armchair quarterbacking this. He's in it.
Always in the game. Yeah,
So when he says something, we should probably listen.
definitely. Take it seriously.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not all doom and gloom, is it?
No, not at all.
In fact, he seems pretty optimistic about the whole thing.
He sees the potential, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
He really emphasizes and backs it up with data, how much Portugal is attracting tourists.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because, 30 million tourists in 2023.
That's incredible. It's a huge vote of confidence
That's a lot of people.
in the country.
And that's after, and I was reading about this, how hard COVID hit the tourism industry globally.
Yes, devastating.
But Portugal, especially in 2020, 2021,
Absolutely.
and they're bouncing back. Like, it's a real comeback story.
They are. It's
Oh.
amazing. 2022, they were already on the upswing,
Yeah, they recovered quickly.
and now they're surpassing those pre-pandemic numbers. It's really quite impressive.
Yeah, so it's a testament to, Portugal as a destination, but that's not really why we're here. We're
Right.
not here to talk about, beaches and
Although,
like
they are beautiful
delicious food, which I am always up for.
always.
But we're trying to go a little
I
deeper.
would go deeper. Yeah.
Trying to understand what's going on with these Portuguese hotels,
Exactly.
the business of it.
And you're right. We're talking about a lot more than just the beaches and the food. Although they're important, we're talking over 1,500 hotels,
That's a lot of hotels.
300 other lodging options, roughly 200,000 people employed in this industry.
Huh.
This is significant.
This is an economic engine.
Absolutely.
This is not, this is not insignificant.
And it's not just, those mega resorts.
Right.
You have everything from these charming family-run places
Ain't little.
all the way to the five-star luxury resorts.
And then, of course, we've got the big names, Lisbon, Porto, the Algarve. Everybody knows those.
Right.
But what about Madeira? What about the Azores?
Hidden gems.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of ground to cover here.
A lot of variety.
But I think before we go too far, we got to talk about the big players.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got to talk about these major players in the Portuguese hotel industry.
The Titans. The heavy hitters.
Exactly. And, this report actually references a study from 2020 by Deloitte. It's called the Atlas Deloitte.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, and they rank the biggest hospitality groups in Portugal.
That's right. It's a good resource.
And I'm not going to lie, I like a good story.
Who doesn't?
So instead of, boring everybody with the numbers and the rankings,
Yeah.
let's talk about the stories.
Let's get into it. I think you will find some of these really fascinating.
Yeah, give me the underdog story. Give me the unexpected success.
Oh, we've got those.
So who are these titans of Portuguese hospitality?
Well, one that really stood out to me was Grupo Pestana.
Okay.
Started back in 1972 with one small hotel in Madeira.
Wow. Humble beginnings.
Can you imagine going from that
To what? Don't leave me hanging.
to a global player with over 100 properties?
Get out. No way.
It's incredible, right?
That is a true, Portuguese success story right there.
Talk about a glow up. That's some serious growth.
Okay, so we've got Grupo Pestana crushing it. Who else is holding their own in this market?
Well, Vila Gale is another one that's really making waves. They've really made a name for themselves, focusing on both quality and sustainability.
It's a powerful combination. You get those incredible experiences, but you don't feel bad about it.
It's a win-win. And they're not just following the trend, they're really setting a new standard for the industry.
And then you've got Tivoli Hotels and Resorts. I thought it was really interesting. They were acquired by a Thai group back in 2016.
Yeah, that says something right there.
Yeah.
You've got this international interest coming in, It's not just homegrown companies investing in Portugal anymore. The whole world is taking notice.
And speaking of the world taking notice, this report is like full of examples of these international hotel chains. They're all planting their flags in Portugal. Marriott, for instance, 14 hotels already.
14, and they're not stopping there.
Seems like they're just getting started.
They're being smart about it, too. You've got those trendier brands, the Moxie Lisboa Oriente,
Well,
catering to like a younger crowd, maybe a little more budget conscious.
right, right.
And then, boom, the high-end market, the Hyatt Regency Lisboa.
Covering all their bases.
Absolutely.
Smart. And then right behind them, you've got Hilton, maybe a little smaller, 7 units.
Yeah, a little smaller.
But they're making a statement with that new Hilton Portuguese.
Oh, definitely.
Right in the heart of wine country.
Brilliant move. Wine tourism is huge.
Mm-hmm.
In Portugal, they know exactly what they're doing, catering to that, that traveler who wants that luxurious experience, but also that immersive local feel.
And then Accor hotels, they're everywhere.
34.
34 hotels and counting.
Yeah, they're killing it.
What's their secret?
I think they've got this knack for understanding different travel styles, different budgets, right?
Okay.
So they've got this diverse portfolio of brands
Okay.
catering to everyone. You want budget, they got you. You want, 5-star luxury, they got you covered.
Speaking of budget, I thought it was really interesting to see B&B hotels, the kings of affordable.
Right.
They're expanding like crazy in Portugal. 13 units now.
It just goes to show you, Portugal really does have something for everyone, every budget.
It's not just for, the jet set crowd.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And while we're on the topic of different players, we can't forget about Hyatt. Just dipping their toes in 2 luxury properties in Lisbon and Porto.
It does feel like they're just like testing the waters a little bit, right?
Yeah.
See how it goes, then maybe.
Could be maybe a bigger splash later.
Yeah.
And we'd be remiss not to mention Intercontinental Hotels Group. They're steadily growing their presence. 8 units now.
Okay.
And again, that variety of brands seems to be working for them.
Yeah. But let's address the elephant in the room. When you think Portugal, luxury travel, it's not necessarily the first thing that comes to mind.
You're right.
At least not for me.
It's funny how these perceptions work. People have this image of Portugal, and don't get me wrong, it's there. But there's this whole other side that often gets overlooked.
Right, like it's just hostels and...
Right, it's for the backpackers, the budget travelers.
Yeah.
Which, again, it is.
Which it is, totally.
But look at the average tourist spending. 1,200 euro per stay. That's not chump change.
That's a lot of money.
And that's just the average, and it's going up. So not only are more people coming, but they're spending more when they get there.
So what's driving that trend toward higher-end travel in Portugal?
Well, one thing, and you've probably heard this before, digital nomads.
Okay, yeah.
It's huge. Portugal is like a haven for them.
It's true. And why not? You've got the beautiful scenery, you've got the relaxed pace of life, you've got, of course, the food. It's amazing, and it's relatively affordable.
Exactly. Ticks all the boxes. And the hotel industry, they're not stupid. They see what's happening, and they're adapting. Co-working spaces, high-speed internet, these Instagrammable environments.
Give me an example, though. Like, what are we talking about here?
Okay, the W Algarve, for example.
Okay.
134 rooms, 83 residences.
Okay. That's getting fancy.
They're not just selling a room, they're selling a lifestyle. Exclusive beach clubs, designer everything, personalized experiences.
Okay, now that sounds fancy, and I bet those residences are going for a pretty penny.
Oh, I'm sure. But then you take it a step further.
Okay.
Umbria Resort, also in the Algarve. We're talking 5-star hotel, we're talking championship golf course, private residences. This is next level.
So they're going all in on this luxury market.
All in. They know there's a clientele that wants it all, and they're willing to pay for it. And Portugal is ready to deliver.
It's amazing to see how Portugal is kind of like transforming its image a little bit, shedding that budget travel stereotype.
It's a testament, I think, to the country's adaptability. They're not stuck in their ways. They're willing to evolve, to offer those diverse experiences for all kinds of travelers. But, and this is important, it's not just about building bigger, fancier hotels.
Okay.
It's about understanding that the future of travel, it's more than just bricks and mortar.
It's about creating those experiences, those really memorable, unique experiences.
Yes, exactly. And the Portuguese government seems to get it. They've been really proactive about supporting the growth of the hotel sector, but in a way that's more sustainable, more innovative.
Okay, so tell me more about that. What are they actually doing?
Well, they've got this program, Revive, and it's fascinating. They're taking these historic buildings, like old convents, even palaces.
Wow.
And they're turning them into these boutique hotels.
Talk about a unique selling point, right? Staying in a piece of history.
Exactly. It's preserving their heritage, but also it's an experience you can't get anywhere else.
And it's not just about, making things look pretty, right? You said there were incentives for sustainability and digitalization.
Right. It's not just about the aesthetics. They want these hotels to be eco-friendly,
Hmm.
and they want them to be on the cutting edge of technology, which, by the way, is smart because travelers now, especially younger generations, they care about that stuff.
Oh, for sure. Nobody wants to feel like their vacation is destroying the planet.
Exactly. So you see things like solar panels everywhere in Portugal.
Hmm.
Makes sense. They've got the sun.
Yeah.
Water conservation, that's huge, particularly in places like the Algarve, which can get quite dry.
Right. Precious resource.
But you also mentioned digitalization, and that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, are we talking robot butlers? Flying cars? What's going on?
Not quite yet,
Yeah.
but think like digital check-in and check-out.
Okay.
That's becoming pretty standard, but it goes beyond that. Smart rooms, Internet of Things, controlling the lights, the temperature, ordering room service, all with your voice.
So it's like high tech, but also personalized.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about using technology to make the experience seamless, but also tailored to you.
I like it. But even with all this, I'm sure there are challenges, right? I mean, no industry is perfect.
Of course. Seasonality is a big one, as with many tourist destinations. Summer's booming, but the off-season, things slow down.
Right, the feast or famine cycle.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's the elephant in the room that we haven't even touched on yet.
Which is...
Airbnb.
Yes, rise of Airbnb. How's that impacting things?
It's huge. I mean, it's a whole other layer to this, right?
Yeah, it's like we peeled back the fancy hotel facade,
Right.
and there's this whole other world going on.
It's disrupted everything. And we have to look at it from both sides. On the one hand, you've got Airbnb offering more choices, more flexibility, often at a lower price point.
Which, let's be honest, is appealing to a lot of people.
Absolutely. Especially maybe younger travelers, people on a budget, or those who are looking for that, authentic experience. They want to live like a local, even if it's just for a few days.
They want to feel like they're in the heart of it all, not stuck in some tourist bubble.
Exactly. And Airbnb taps into that.
Hmm.
But, of course, there's another side to this story.
And I'm guessing the hotel industry is not thrilled about this new competition.
Well, there are definitely concerns. One of the big ones is regulation, or the lack thereof. Traditional hotels, they've got to follow all these rules, safety standards, licensing.
Which, as a consumer, I appreciate.
Absolutely. Peace of mind. But those same rules don't always apply to these short-term rentals.
So you've got this uneven playing field.
Exactly. And that creates tension. The hotels, they're looking at this, and they're feeling the pressure, not just on price,
Right.
but on this perception of fairness.
Yeah, like we're being held to a higher standard and they're not.
It's a valid concern. And it's not just about the money, it's about the impact on the communities themselves.
That's what I was thinking. You hear stories about, these neighborhoods that are just overrun with Airbnbs. And then the people who actually live there, they get pushed out. The whole character of the place changes.
You've hit on a really important point. How do you balance the economic benefits of tourism with preserving the soul of a place?
Right. It's a tough one.
It's a challenge being faced all over the world.
So what's being done in Portugal specifically? I mean, are there any solutions in sight?
They are trying. The government's aware of these concerns, and they've been working on regulations.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, they're making platforms like Airbnb register with the tourism authorities.
Okay, so a little bit more oversight.
Exactly. They want to know what's going on, who's operating where. They're also putting limits on the number of licenses in certain areas.
So trying to prevent those Airbnb-saturated neighborhoods.
Right. And, of course, making sure that all these short-term rentals, they meet certain safety standards, just like the hotels.
So trying to level the playing field a little bit.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance, protecting the residents, but also allowing the tourism industry to thrive.
Right, because it is a huge part of their economy, so it's not like they can just shut it down.
Exactly. But let's not forget about the hotels in all of this. They're not just sitting back watching this happen. They're adapting too.
Okay, how so?
Well, we talked about sustainability, digitalization, but it goes beyond that. There's this big push now for experiences.
Experiences.
Yeah, it's not enough to just offer a nice room anymore. They're getting creative. Culinary workshops, wine tastings with experts, you name it.
So tapping into that desire for something like more authentic, more engaging.
Exactly. They want to give guests a story to tell, not just a place to sleep. Plus, don't forget about those loyalty programs.
Right, right.
Hotels been doing that for years. Build that relationship, offer perks, make people feel valued. Airbnb's still trying to figure that part out,
It's a different kind of relationship.
for sure. So, what's the future of the Portuguese hotel industry? This report makes it clear it's bright.
They're on the map now.
They are. But with that comes responsibility, managing growth, but doing it sustainably, preserving what makes Portugal special. It's a balancing act.
Finding that sweet spot.
Exactly.
Well, this deep dive has been fascinating. I came in thinking it would be all about like occupancy rates and revenue, the business side,
Submersive.
the numbers. But it's so much more than that.
It always is. It's about the people, the travelers, the locals, the people who work in these hotels.
It's about the human element.
Absolutely. And, all this talk about hotels, Airbnb, it got me thinking, what about the travelers looking for something completely different?
Okay, I'm intrigued. What do you have in mind?
Did you know that Portugal is home to Europe's first and only certified dark sky reserve?
No way. I had no idea. Tell me more.
It's called the Alcriva Dark Sky Reserve, and it's in the Alentejo region.
Oh.
Vast plains, minimal light pollution, perfect for stargazing.
That's incredible. The possibilities there. Imagine like boutique hotels with rooftop telescopes, nighttime horseback riding under the stars. You could even have like astronomy experts leading tours.
Right. It's about tapping into those niche interests, offering something truly unique.
Wow. So we've gone from Portuguese hotels to the vastness of space.
It's all connected. That's what I love about these deep dives.
Yeah,
You never know where we're going to end up.
it's true. Well, on that note, I think we covered a lot of ground. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
Just this. Technology is changing everything, travel included. So as things like virtual reality, artificial intelligence, personalized experiences, all of that becomes more prevalent, how will it shape the future of travel? And what role will Portugal play in this new frontier? It's something to think about.
Another deep dive, another rabbit hole of possibilities. Thanks for joining me.
Always a pleasure.